Welcome into the Cowboys Report, made possible today by Roan. You guys can get 20% off your order at roan.com/chatsports, including the polo that I'm wearing right now, part of the commuter collection from Roan. An incredibly fantastic set of products. That's roan.com/chatsports. All right, some super thanks to begin today's live mailbag. Take two after the Ethernet stopped working in the middle of our last one. From Richard Varva, says, thanks. Great job, Tom. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you watching and supporting the Cowboys Report. These put in a super thanks. It's a feature on YouTube, much like a super chat, that allows you to donate, ask a question, say thanks, whatever, on an on-demand video, not just a live, which is a super chat. Click the thanks icon. You can edit your message, say whatever you want. We appreciate your support here at the Cowboys Report. We'll give you guys shout-outs when those come in, including one from George Norwood. This one came on our offensive breakout candidates video. He says, thanks. Jake Ferguson is your offensive breakout candidate. I think that's a great name. He was on our list, of course, there. It depends on, hey, does Luke Schoonmaker emerge as a potential early starter for Dallas, or is it a rotation? But he's a good offensive breakout candidate name for sure. Next up from Tyler Parrott, a $2 super thanks. Thank you, my friend. I would take Trey Lance for next year's third-round pick plus another player like an extra tight end. Any chance of that if he emerges as no better than a backup after training camp? So in this scenario, Trey Lance is only a backup. And there is upside still in Trey Lance, who was always a bit of a developmental project type with high upside, who needed time and reps. He's had 4 career starts, one of which was basically a monsoon game that I don't think really counts as a start and hurt his numbers, etc. The issue here is you're trading for Trey Lance. Let's say it's this deal, a third-round pick, and we'll give him Sean McEwen, so a less valuable tight end, going to San Francisco in exchange for Dallas. You're giving up a third for a backup, and you're still paying him a decent amount of money. You're paying him kind of high money because he was a top 5 pick, and his timeline matches up with Dak. This year under contract, next year under contract. Dak's then a free agent. Lance is a 5th-year option. I haven't really seen him play. I think that's a lot to give up for a player that, in theory, didn't win the 49ers job and then isn't good enough to be your starter there or in Dallas, barring injury, so it's a backup. I think that's too much, and I think the Niners would probably want too much in the end. So would you trade for Trey Lance? This will be today's pinned comment. If an ad happens to play here on YouTube, that's cool. Take advantage of the ad and go vote. Why for yes you would, and for no you would not. Would you guys trade for Trey Lance? This is a $5 super chat from Jeremy Chuggs' burner. If we got Cook and Hopkins, where would we put us in terms of talent? I don't think we will, but if it puts us enough, why not? It's a good question, Jeremy Chuggs' burner. The reasoning here is the role versus the money and the expectations of impact. It's a diminishing return signing. You would sign Hopkins to be your receiver 4. I put him at 3. Dallas wants to make it Gallup. Cook would be your number 2 back. For the cost involved, let's say it's generously $15 million for Hopkins, $7 for Dalvin Cook, you're paying over $22 million for your wide receiver 4 and your RB2. That doesn't really work. Now, if there's an injury, you can change your mind. But for the roster currently constructed, it's not as viable as an option for the return on what you would be investing. Injuries could change that, but currently constructed, it's just not quite worth the change involved. $2 super chat from Toxic Tom Downey burner account. Cowboys legends Jalen Jelks and Scott Fujita, the Oregon defensive end, 7th-round pick, and the longtime NFL linebacker, Scott Fujita. 2 great names there, my friend. Thank you. From another one, I should say, from Jeremy Chuggs' burner, is Tony Pollard a top 10 back? I'd say probably. You're putting Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, probably Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, probably Saquon over him. And then it's, is Breece Hall healthy? Alvin Kamara maybe. He's kind of declined a little bit. Kenneth Walker. Is Damian Pierce better? Maybe, probably not. If he's not top 10, he's not far behind it from that perspective. A $5 super chat we'll get to here in just a little bit. But first, folks, today's show is made possible by Roan. 20% off your order when you head over to roan.com/chatsports. Their commuter collection is perfect. Men's closets needed a radical reinvention, and Roan has delivered with the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man. Their comfortable four-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy whatever life throws your way. From the commute to work to 18 holes of golf, they have pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, polos. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have the Roan commuter collection. It's easy to feel confident without the hassle with their wrinkle release technology. Their Gold Fusion anti-odor tech helps you smell fresh and clean throughout the day. It's, by the way, 100% machine washable as well. I've watched this polo many a time. The commuter collection gets you through any workday and right into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/chatsports for 20% off your order. That's 20% off your entire Roan order when you go to RHONE.com/chatsports and use code chatsports. Find your corner office comfort with Roan. A $5 super chat, a first-time super chatter from Sheldon Johnson. Just says you're doing an awesome job. Thank you, Sheldon. I appreciate that, and congrats on your first ever super chat. From Mark, my guy. Why are we talking about back so much? We have zero depth on the offensive line. Injury concerns. Smith and the Denver guard is a huge upgrade for us. We have money. I would like to sign Dalton Reisner. I think there could be depth. I'm excited about what maybe Matt Waletzko can be for. I think he's more of a tackle than a guard. Team seems to like Matt Farniok. Not sure I fully agree on that one. But I agree, Mark. I would rather sign a guard for, let's say, $5 million than a running back for $5 million. I think that would have a bigger impact for you, and the depth would be a bit more valuable. From Boondock Saint, Tom, would you trade for Tampa Bay's center, and what would it cost? So that'd be Ryan Jensen. I would probably not trade for him. I don't know how much he has left in the tank. If I can get him for a late-round pick, sure, okay. I think that's a short-term solution for a player who's maybe at this stage in his career a little bit better than Tyler Biadasz. Not a terrible idea. I get what you're going for. But at this stage in his career, I'm not sure how much he really has left in the tank. Now, if Biadasz goes down potentially, yeah, top of my list for sure. Joshua Ramsey, with Burrow set to get paid, what would a team-friendly deal look like? I assume it's about what would a team-friendly deal look like for Dallas. Let's go to the top 10 quarterbacks list if you can there, Sam. I know it's been a chaotic day for you. The team-friendly, I think, would be almost anything under like 49. If it's Russ Wilson or less, if it's in that range of outcomes, I'd say somewhere in that contract is actually team-friendly, as opposed to, like, if Dak wants to play hardball, his hardball is, I'm not signing an extension, because the Cowboys can't tag him. He can hit the open market where he could get a stupid big deal from a desperate team, like a team like the Commanders. I mean, look how much they just gave up for Aaron Rodgers for a year or two of him. So I think, honestly, anything under 50 is probably a bit team-friendly versus what Dak could try to do. From Mark, a $2 super chat. Thank you. I agree. You guys rock. Miss Brother Chubbs. Aloha. You'll still see Jeremy. He's just on. He's doing other stuff with Raiders, etc. So, Mark, appreciate your support here, my friend. Thank you. From Bruce Smith. So, the Bills not trading Stefon Diggs. Yeah, I don't think so. At least not this year. The way his contract is set up, the monetary impact just doesn't really work. It would cost such an exorbitant amount of money. It would cost them too much short term. So I never bought the Diggs trade rumors to Dallas. I get they're fun, and Trayvon wants him, but I never thought it was happening. Here's a fun question for you guys. Who is the better Diggs? S for Stefon Diggs or T for Trayvon Diggs? At least right now. Curious how you guys vote. Sound off for me in the comment section. Stephen Riddle. Is Dak one of the most overrated QBs in the NFL? How do you rate him? / who are you talking to? I saw someone say, I forget his name, it was a media person, said Dak was the most overrated quarterback because we all think he's top 5, and he's actually more like 7 to 11, which I think is a made-up argument. I don't think he's top 5. I don't think most people think he's top 5. I think he's in that 7 to 11 range, but I see more comments of Dak is trash and he's not a top 15 at all quarterback. I've seen people say he's bottom 10 in the NFL, which I think is ludicrous. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, and I think if you got an average poll, that's about what it would be, somewhere in that 7 to 11 range. So depends on how you're rating him. If you put him in the top 5, then yeah, I think you are rating him a little bit, but I think there's more non-top 15 than there are top 5 views of Dak. It's a good question there. From Brokoff, if we reach Super Bowl, what 3 realistic former Cowboys could sign an Eric Weddle-like contract? Boy, you're signing a retired player to come play a game for you, which that was a wild story. They have to be former Cowboys. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Dez. Is Jason Witten still in shape? What kind of shape is Travis Frederick in? You know who's actually still kind of in good shape? DeMarcus Ware could actually be a decent fit, although I think he's way too old, but he's actually in good shape. It's a fun question there, Brokoff. From Robert, how much pass rush should we expect from Mazi? I think keep the expectations low. I'd say if you can get some pocket push out of Mazi Smith, you're probably happy about it. I don't know if you're going to get massive pocket push or real pass rush moves in year 1, but don't be a liability on third downs when and if he's out there very much. From David Duvall, interesting. What would you trade for Isaiah Simmons? That's a tough one. I think he would have a lot of fun and be a good fit in the Dan Quinn style defense. I think Dan Quinn could maximize him in a way that maybe others in Arizona have been unable to do so. His numbers were up and down this past year, knowing, of course, that Arizona hasn't used him in always the best fashion. But I think the DeMarvin Overshown role is kind of an overlap. I want to monitor him at the trade deadline this year. I'm not going to trade for him right now. Arizona probably wants too much. Let's check in the trade deadline. Can I get him for like a 4th-round pick? Probably not. But at the deadline, I might have interest at that level. So name a player who you would trade for. Put on your GM caps. Name a player you guys would go out and get in the comment section right now. From Leroy Pearson Jr. Do you see the Jones and likes of Gallimore right in to receive the comp picks when they sign elsewhere? I don't think so. I think it's more of they drafted them, they invested in them, and they want to see if those guys can develop and become what they hoped they were going to be. Dallas has always been fairly loyal to their various draft picks. But all 3 of those guys might get cut. And right now, they wouldn't bring you much in a comp pick situation. So I think wait and see on those players. I think all 3 guys you named are very much on the roster bubble. From Cameron Godfrey, we'll make this our last one here. How you think we're going to extend Pollard? How much? I think about $8 million is going to do it. That's the issue you have here. Because Tony Pollard is locked in to $10 million. So if he were to take, let's say, a 3-year, $27, $24 million deal, that's really more of a 2-year, $14 million deal. And depending on how much is guaranteed, couldn't he get more than that next year on the open market? That's the issue I think Dallas and Pollard are going to face right now. Maybe he wants the guaranteed money because the running back market is really bad. But sound off with what you guys think Pollard's worth in the comments.